All praises, all praises. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. That's who the word inwardly calls Jesus Christ, man. We back at it with another Tuesday class, man. Shatar Dabaka Ward.
Boys, Yar.
Man, we back at it, man. We back at it, man. Hey, put some ones in the chat, man. Let me know if y'all hear us. Ones in the chat. Let me know. How people doing, man? I see a lot of people who've been commenting under the Atlanta stuff. Everybody keep talking about this crazy ass nigga, y'all Jew, who think he's the Trinity within himself. He believes
that's definitely crazy.
He believes he's Jesus, the Father, and him, man. So it's just wow. Okay, we got ones in the chat, man. Ones in the chat, so they can hear us. My brother Zumyar got a little lesson he want to go into, man. So I'll let him go into it, man. We can go ahead and get this thing started.
All right, come. I just want to touch on Slaki, because I always hear people say that the law is done away with, though we can't find that nowhere in Scripture. Matter of fact, let's just start with as of right now, right? So let's go to Matthew 5:17. Do it in the NASB 2 for me. NASB 20.
Yeah. Oh man, then you might have to. If you already
I got come on.
Yeah.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5:17. Do not presume that I came to abolish the law or the prophets. I did not come to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not the smallest letter or stroke of a letter shall pass from the law until all is accomplished. So we know as of right now, all has not been accomplished. We know as of right now, not even a stroke of a letter or the smallest letter has been passed from the law. So it's funny because when I hear people say that, it's like, how do you believe that when the Bible tells us that even in the kingdom, we're going to still be keeping the law?
That's right.
So how can it be done away with now? And then in the kingdom, we're supposed to pick it back up? Like, it ain't done away with now, and it's not going to be done away in the kingdom. So first, I wanted to kind of like touch on the fact that, the law is not categorized, right? It's not sectioned off where it's like, oh, you can keep this, but don't, right? The word Torah means law or instruction, right? And that's what it's here for. And that's now, that's yesterday, that's now, that's forever, right? Bottom line, right? We got to keep the law as a whole, right? Which means, no, we don't sacrifice animals at this day and time, but that's because there's literally a law that says we can't if there's no temple. So we'll be breaking a law to go ahead and sacrifice at this time when there's no temple, right? So let's get that in Deuteronomy 12:13.
So this is the book of Deuteronomy. Good Lord. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 12. You said verse 13?
Yeah.
Verse 13. Take heed to thyself that thou offer not thy burnt offerings in every place that thou seest, but in the place which the Lord has chosen in one of thy tribes. There thou shalt offer thy burnt offerings, and there thou shalt do all that I command thee.
Simple, right? It's telling you right there. Don't do this any and everywhere. There's a place set aside to do this, and that's where you do it. If that place does not exist, you don't just say, I'm going to do it anyway. That would be breaking the law. It makes no sense to break a law to try to call yourself keeping another law. Like, it just don't make no sense, right? Let me skip around a little bit. Let me go to Isaiah 2. Give me like 2 and 1 through 4.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 2. You say you want verse 1?
Yeah, start at 1.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 1. And the word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord house shall be established in the house of the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his path. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
So we know right here, this is kingdom connotation, right? This is, describing what's going to happen even in the kingdom, right? And it says what? It says, go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways. So even in that time, though we'll be, we'll have perfected bodies, the law will be written on our heart. The other nations won't. So we'll still have to teach the law. And which again, it just establishes right there that the law will still be in place. Just because it's on our heart, it's going to be easy for us to do it, don't mean it's going to be like that for everybody. So the law will still be placed, and we'll still have to teach them, not each other, but we'll still have to teach the other nations the law, right? And like it says, for out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord, and that's the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. So either way it goes, we know that when we get to the kingdom again, we won't be teaching each man his brother to to one another, but we'll still have to teach the other nations, right? So let's go to Zechariah 14 and 16.
This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 14, and verse 16. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which come against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So we see right there, even when you look at verse 16, it says, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations. So we know that's when Christ comes back and all the fighting is done, and he begins to implement his kingdom and the things that will happen in his kingdom, that it says what? That even go up from that Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. We know that the Feast of Tabernacles is a law that we have to keep that. It's not something we just decide that we're going to do. That's us keeping the law. Let me see. Matter of fact, go to. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should just keep reading.
I want to keep reading, right?
All right, verse 17, and it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain.
So simple, right? We already know that we're gonna have to do it, but it's telling you again right here that even all the other families of the earth, everybody who's left, right? Everyone who's left of the nations who came up against Jerusalem, them as well, they're gonna have to come up year to year to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles, right? To worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain if they don't. So if you don't, it's gonna be a price to pay. It's just like the law now, right? People talk about the curse of the law. The curse is that if you don't keep the law, you get the curses. This is a curse that's going to be on the other nation. If they don't keep this law, they're going to get the curse that comes with that, like no rain in their land, right?
Let me keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
Verse 18, and if the families of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be a plague on Salaki, and there shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So you're already gonna get no rain, right? You're gonna get a plague that's gonna smite the heathens who come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So again, we see that curse of the law right there. There's a law put in place, and if you don't do it, there's a curse that comes with it. Same thing that we go through now. Like it's why the scripture saying Deuteronomy that he's gonna put the curses on the other nations, right? So this is an example of those curses going on the other nations, right? All right, so let's keep going too. I want to
Verse 19, and this shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all the nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
Right, punishment of Egypt, punishment of all the other nations, right? So it's something that, in that day and time, we won't have to worry about it, but we still know that it's in our law, but because it's going to be written on our heart, we'll be doing things like this like it's nothing. But the other nations, they're going to still have to be taught this, and they're going to still have to have this implemented in the way they do things. You know what I'm saying? So let me see. Oh, keep going.
Verse 20, And in that day shall there be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto the Lord, and the pots, also like it, in the pots in the Lord house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness unto the Lord of hosts, and all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them and see therein. And in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of the Lord of hosts.
Right. So even that, right? We understand when dealing with the pots and all these different things, that these are things that, as a law, are described to us. So let's go to 1 Samuel 2:14.
This is the book of 1 Samuel. That's crazy. Chapter 2. Don't mess my Bible up. All right, this is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 2, verse 14. And he struck, and he struck it into the pan, and he struck it into the pan, or kettle, or what is that?
Or cauldron.
Or cauldron, or pot. All that the flesh hooks brought up, the priest took for himself. So they did this in Shiloh unto all the Israelites that came hither.
Right. So we understand these customs that we've been keeping, since antiquity, right? Even when you go up a verse, it says, I'm going to do this in SB too, right? It says, and this was the custom of the priests with the people. When anyone was offering a sacrifice, the priest's servant would come while the meat was cooking with a 3-pronged fork in his hand, and he would thrust into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. It's the same thing as being described in Zechariah, right? So we understand same things we did then, we're going to do in the future. Same things that were our customs in the past, they're going to be our customs in the future. And the only difference is that the other nations, right, they're going to have to do these things well. They're going to have to keep these customs and laws as well, right? So it's not just the laws, but certain things that are customs that they're going to have to keep all of it. They're going to have to go and follow the ways of our God. And that's not just laws, statutes, and commandments, you know what I mean? So let's go to, matter of fact, let's go to Luke 22 real quick.
Where you want to start?
Start at 15.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 22, and verse 15. And he said unto them, with desire I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. Let me read that again. Right. This is the book of Luke, chapter 22, verse 15. And he said unto them, with desire I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of God.
Right. And that's big right there, because it's showing you right here that before, everything that happened with Christ, as far as regarding his suffering that he knew was coming, before he passed away, right? That he told his disciples, he told everybody with him, listen, I want to do this with you now because we won't do this again until we get into the kingdom. And we understand that us celebrating the Passover is something that is a law for us. So he's telling them, before I go, let's keep this law this one last time, and we won't be to do it again until we get into the kingdom, which proves, again, same laws that we kept on this side, we're going to keep in the kingdom. Same thing, right?
Oh, that's a powerful dagger, man, for Christ to say, in the kingdom of heaven, he's keeping the Passover. Yeah. That's literally saying, I'm keeping the Mosaic law in the kingdom of heaven.
And then also, that's also a cut to brothers who think that they Christ. He said he ain't going to do it again to the kingdom.
Yeah, right? Hey, that's a good point.
So, like, you niggas out here saying y'all Christ.
Yeah, y'all Judah, nigga. Are you keeping the Passover?
Crazy, right? That just proves that you ain't. But all right, cool. Let's go to Ezekiel 45 and 21, because we know, when you get to Ezekiel 40 and beyond, that's dealing with the kingdom, right, in the third temple. So let's get 45 and 21 just to kind of bring that point home.
It's the book of Ezekiel. You said 45 and what?
And 21.
And 21, right? The book of Ezekiel, chapter 45 and verse 21. In the first month, in In the 14th day of the month, ye shall have the Passover, a feast of 7 days. Unleavened bread shall be eaten.
Right. So just showing you right there, the same way we got these laws in Deuteronomy and Leviticus, the same way we got these laws in antiquity. This is Ezekiel 45, and once again, that's dealing with the third temple. That's dealing with the kingdom connotation and all those things. So when you understand that it's saying the same exact thing that's going to happen when we have that third temple, it lets you know again, right? Certain things we can't do without a temple, and that when we get that third temple, the same things we used to do at the first temple, we're going to do again at this third temple. So, same thing we do at the first and the second temple, we'll do again at the third temple. You know what I'm saying? Give me Acts 21:18.
Hold on, let me read a little bit more because because it also led me back some of the points like offerings too. Because this, like you said, when you're dealing with Ezekiel chapter 40 and beyond, that's dealing with third temple. The third temple is get built in the kingdom of heaven, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna read what the brother was bringing out with the Passover, but once you keep reading, right, I'm gonna explain, right? So we're gonna go back Ezekiel 45 and verse 21, right? In the first month, in the 14th day of the month, ye shall have the Passover, a feast of 7 days. Oh, it's lucky. Unleavened bread shall be eaten, right? But if you keep reading, right, and it said, upon that day shall the prince, who's the prince? The prince right here in this context is who the world will call Jesus Christ, right? Yahweh Shah Mashiach. So this is the prince. And it says, and the prince prepare for himself and for all the people of the land a bullock for a sin offering, right? So we're going to keep reading. In 7 days of the feast, he shall prepare burnt offerings to the Lord, 7 bullocks and 7 rams without blemish daily for 7 days, a kid of the goats daily for a sin offering. So what is that showing you? In the kingdom of heaven, he's still doing burnt offerings.
And doing it the same way we did it, you know, during the first 2 temples.
Right. So that's the Passover burnt offerings, right? And my brother got more into his lessons that, like, I'm going to let me back on that point, right? So keep going.
Let me go to, let's go to Acts 21:18, right? Because I think part of the misconception a lot of times is that we believe that, you know, not we, but so many people believe that the sacrifices stop just because, you know, Christ is gone and now we don't, like, we understand he's the ultimate sin offering. That's a fact, right? But that's not why the sacrifices stop, right?
Right.
So let's go to Acts 21:18 first.
Right. This is the book of Acts, chapter 21, verse 18. In the day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things God had wrought among the Gentiles by his ministry. And when he had heard it, they glorified the Lord. And he said unto him, thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there are which believe, and they are all zealous of the law.
Right. Which definitely, you know, kills that too when people say nobody believed on them. We understand that the leadership, you know, if anybody rejected them, it was the leadership, right? Yeah. The builders, right? They rejected the stone, right? The cornerstone. But it was many people. When you read in these scriptures, you see over and over multitudes of people follow them at different times. So many of us believe. You know, I just want to land back on that real quick, but keep going on.
Yeah, but let me just a point also, right? So when you read in 20, right, like the context is James talking to Paul about Paul's ministry.
Right.
And Paul's ministry is what? Him going to the Gentiles, well, the Jews amongst the Gentiles, because it just said it in 20, teaching them what? The law. They were zealous of the law. Right? Like, so I'm going to just read 20. Well, I'm going to read it again, you know, mind. Right? So this is Act 21:18, right? And it says, and the day following Paul went in with us unto James. So Paul is going to James, right? And all the elders was present. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things God had wrought amongst the Gentiles by his ministry. What Gentiles? Well, where he's finna explain who the Gentiles is, and this Paul ministry is explaining, right? And when they heard it, they glorified the Lord and said unto him, this is what they said unto Paul, thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews, how many Jews there are which believe, and they are all zealous of the law. So he's saying those Gentiles, those were Jews who were what? Zealous of the law, right? So I'm gonna keep reading so you can go on with your point. All right. And verse 21, and they are informed of thee that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles
Right.
to forsake Moses, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after the customs. What are the customs? The law, right? And what is it there therefore?
Right. And that right there, right? That's letting you know right there. Because some people say, well, it wasn't an order. But we understand that James, especially while Peter was off doing other things, that James was sitting in the place of basically as the bishop, right? Sitting in the place that Peter was sitting in Peter's absence, right? So what he was telling him, he was saying, like, so what are we gonna do about this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we do to make people understand that you're not teaching against the law?
Yeah.
Right.
He said these people got a misconception that you're telling them not to teach the law,
Exactly.
not to keep the law of Moses.
Right. And I want to bring out to what Peter say. I think it's funny because even then, we still go through this now, but even then, right? Where is it at? 2 Peter 3:16. Even then, right? People was already confusing Paul's words. He was already misconstruing the things that Paul was saying. So the same problem we have today with people doing that, it was already happening. 2 Peter 3 and 16, right? It says,
you want to read it?
You can, yeah.
All right, this is the book of 2 Peter chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 15.
All right,
and account that the long suffering of our Lord is salvation, even as our beloved brother Paul, also according to the wisdom given unto him, have written unto you, as also in all his epistles, speaking in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable rest, as they do also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction.
And that's why people, you really do have to be careful with Paul's words, because Peter's telling you, like, the way he writes, it might have some people confused, but it's the same thing that James was telling him, like, we know you're not teaching against the law. We know, that sometimes people misconstrue your words, confuse the things you're saying. So what are we going to do here to make sure, people understand that you're not teaching against the law, right? So keep going in Acts, right?
Acts. All right, cool. This is the book of Acts, chapter 21. I'm gonna start back. I'm gonna start at 21, right? Get back context, right? And they are informed of thee that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after the custom. What is it therefore? The multitude must need come together, for they will hear that thou art come. Do therefore this that we say to thee. We have 4 men which have a vow on them.
And we know, stop right
no,
there,
go ahead.
And we know that vow is the Nazarite vow, right? Matter of fact, let's get that in number 6.
All right, number 6. All right, I'm gonna start at number 6. I'm gonna start at verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when either a man or a woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord, right? And then it goes into the actual Nazarite, right? But to get to his point, what Paul had to do is the sacrifice portion of it, right? So let me drop down.
Right.
So I'm gonna drop down to verse 13. And this is the law of the Nazarite. When the days of his separation are fulfilled, he shall be brought unto the doors of the tabernacle of the congregation, and he shall offer his offering unto the Lord, 1 he lamb of the first year without blemish for a burnt offering, 1 ewe lamb of the first year without blemish for a sin offering, and 1 ram without blemish for a peace offering.
So we understand this is the purification. This is what this whole vow is about, right? And when you end, your Nazarite vow, what's the next thing you have to do? You got to shave your head. So this is what the sin offering is about, is because again, when you shave your head, you are breaking a law, right? We got that too. Let me see, what is that? Deuteronomy.
Well, let me just read the law he's talking about.
Okay.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 6 and verse 18.
Right.
And the Nazarite shall shave his head of his separation at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and he shall take the hairs of his head of his separation and put it in the fire which is under the sacrifice of a peace offering. Right?
Yeah. So, like I said, the thing that the sin offering is for the shaving of the head. And let me see, that's in Deuteronomy. It's in Leviticus 21 and 5, right? Let me get that. All right, let me just get it real quick. It's the book of Leviticus 21, verse 5. They shall not make baldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. So again, this is the point that the sin offering had to be offered for in the first place, because when you finish your Nazarite vow, this is what you have to do, is shave your head. And it tells you right there in Leviticus 21:5, don't shave your head, right? So we got to also understand too that let me not get too far ahead of myself because I kind of want to finish.
Oh man, hold on. The water sister Tanya, man, with the $5 super chat, man. I appreciate it, man.
Damn. All right, so also too, when you go into that word purify in the Greek, it tells you literally right there that it's talking about the ritualistic purification process, right, of the Mosaic law. So we understand this is what's happening with the Nazarite vow. This is the same thing that they're telling Paul that you have to do. And that right there, that is in the Mosaic law, and you have to do this to prove to people that you're not teaching against the Mosaic law by doing something that's literally detailed right there in the Mosaic law, right? So let's go to also tell me to make a point too, right? We understand that Yahushua was the ultimate sin offering, but we also have to understand that there are other sacrifices and other offerings that you can make besides sin offerings, right? So when you understand the purification offering, right? Even like when a woman goes through her cycle, she's got to make a purification offering for that, right? Feast day sacrifices, and free will offerings as well, and so on, right? There's other things that you have to make offerings for besides just sin offering. So if Yahushua was the ultimate sin offering, which means that we don't have to do that anymore for sin, there's still other things that we would have to make sacrifices for, right?
Yeah, and just to add on that, sometimes the Most High just want a burnt offering just to smell it. Call it a sweet savor. I just want to smell it.
Let me go. Let's go to Daniel 9 real quick. Start at 24. Yeah, because when you understand that, the sacrifice didn't stop when Christ passed, you got to figure out why did it stop, right? So let's go to Daniel 9 and we can look at why it actually stopped.
All right. So this is the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 24. 7 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish this transgression and to make an end of sins, to make a reconciliation for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness.
All right. Stop right there just for a second, right? So even right there where it says 7 weeks, right? We understand that each week represents 7 years. Because each day represents a year when you understand that spiritual numerology, right? So and when we get to verse 26, matter of fact, I'll let you get there first, and I'll show you what I was trying to say.
Right. To bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up the vision and prophecies, to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem until the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks.
Right. So we understand, right, that the reason, one of the ways we understand that it's not talking about a little 70 weeks is because when the decree came to rebuild the temple, 70 weeks later, nothing happened. So that's why you understand that it's talking spiritual numerology, right? And when you get to, so if you look at it, you got 62 weeks, which is 62 weeks of the 70 weeks, which is talked about in verse 24, right? Which is 490 years. And again, we notice because 70 weeks from when the decree came to build Jerusalem, nothing happened, right? So this is, it takes us at that point, it takes us to 70 AD, and we know what happened then. That's when Titus Vespasian came and sacked the temple and destroyed the temple, and we was exiled and all of those things, right? So that is the real reason that the sacrifices stopped, because like we said at the beginning of this whole thing, without a temple, there is no sacrifice. No temple, no sacrifice, right? So let's go to, let's look at Hebrews. Give me Hebrews 13 real quick.
You want Hebrews what?
13. Start at 8. Just so I get the topic right there. Get the context.
All right, so yeah. The book of Hebrews, you said 13 and 8. The book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 8. Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, the same yesterday and today and forever.
Right. So we see right there, the topic is, the context is Christ, right? So when we go down to verse 15, let's see what that says, right?
I don't know. I'm over here looking for a precept for you, man. To explain that week for a day, man. You right. Moved on anyway. You said 13 and 15?
Go to verse 15, right? 13.
All right, the book of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 15. By him, therefore, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually. Right. That is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name.
Right. So it tells us right there. Again, it's just kind of touching on as well that he is that ultimate sacrifice, right? It says, by him, let us offer the sacrifice of praise to God continually. So even though you can say that that's spiritual, it's the point that he is the ultimate sacrifice, and through him we offer a sacrifice of praise, right? So when you go to 1 Samuel 15 and 22.
It's the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22. And Samuel said, hath the Lord as greatly delighted in burnt offerings and sacrifice as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Obey, Salakia, let me read it again. Right. This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22. And Samuel said, have the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifice as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice.
So it tells us right there that as important as the sacrifice is, it's better to obey, which means when the law says that you can't sacrifice with no temple, it's better to obey that law than to try to circumvent that some kind of way and go around that to just sacrifice anyway, right? Because we understand, again, if there's no temple, there is no sacrifice, right?
Right. Obey is better to sacrifice and to hearken than the fat of rams.
So listen, right? So simple and plain, like do what he's telling us to do and obey that instead of trying to find. That's like when it says about us establishing our own righteousness, right? We got to do what we told to do. Don't try to figure out a way around that. And so that's where we at when people. And it's funny because I've heard people say so many times, "Why y'all don't sacrifice no more? If y'all keep the law, why? Because there's no temple. That's the law. Like we'd be breaking the law to try to do that regardless, right? And it's better to obey than to sacrifice. Let me see.
What's that? You got to go back to Daniel 9 to break that all the way down.
All right, bet.
So because he didn't break it all the way down, he got to show you what.
Listen, I'm loaded up trying to, but I got you. Come
on. Yeah. All right, cool. Going back to Daniel 9. We'll start it because he was breaking it down. We're just gonna go through it. 9 and 24, right?
Right.
So 7 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up the vision and prophecy, to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and understand that the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks and 80 weeks, right? Go ahead, you break it down.
Right. I mean, so that's dealing with that spiritual numerology. We understood, like I said, when you look at when it was decreed to rebuild Jerusalem, 70 weeks later, nothing happened. Mm-hmm. So when you look at that spiritual numerology, you understand that that we're talking at the end of the day 490 years, right? Because 62 weeks of the 70, because 62 weeks is 62 weeks. I mean, so like 62 weeks is 70 weeks, right? But when you understand that it's talking about 490 years, all you had to do is look at it. Nothing happened 70 weeks later, but we know what happened 490 years later. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand that spiritual numerology. And I mean, when you deal with numerology in the Bible, is of course there's certain things that are literal, but it's just like the Bible says that 1,000 years to us is a day to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So it's just understanding that when you see certain numbers and certain, the way things add up biblically in that spiritual numerology, it's not literal, right? So again, is something else you want to touch on that part though?
Yeah. So the what is that? Where it says 62 weeks. Well, 60 is 60, right? 60, and so it's saying 62, right?
Right.
So that's what 434 years, right? So that's what it's talking about, right? And the street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times. So that's when you get Ezra, here go a picture when it says in troublous times, right? This is dealing with Ezra, right? Let me get it. Right. Ezra 4 at the top. Right. I'll just get it right.
I got you. We'll start at 1?
Yeah, start at verse 1, right?
All right. This is the book of Ezra, chapter 4, verse 1. Now, when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel.
Right. So they heard they're building the temple to God, right? Go ahead.
Then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you.
So they want to build the temple of God with us, right? Go ahead.
For we seek your God as ye do.
So they're seeking our God just like us, right? Go ahead.
And we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Esarhaddon, king of Assur, which brought us up hither.
So what is it talking about? So when you get in 2 Kings 17, right? The king of Assyria, right? When he took the northern kingdom out, they put in a whole bunch of heathens. Right. So they're saying they've been sacrificing to our God since that time. Right? Go ahead.
Right. But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel said unto them.
So this is the leadership of Israel talking to the heathen, right? Go ahead.
Ye have nothing to do with us.
They say ye ain't have nothing to do with us, right? Go ahead.
Ye have nothing to do with us to build a house unto our God.
So they're saying y'all ain't got nothing to do with us building this temple to God, right? Go ahead.
But we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel.
So they said we're going to build this temple to God by pretty much our goddamn self, right? Go ahead.
As King Cyrus, the king of Persia, hath commanded us.
Keep going.
Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building.
They did what?
They weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building.
And troubled them in building, right? Go ahead.
And hired counselors against them to frustrate the purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia.
Right. So that's the point I wanted to get, because when it said in troublous time, that's what it's talking about. Them building up the temple in troublous times, right? Yeah. You gonna get it?
I mean, I don't know exactly.
No, you did. Right. So I'm gonna go back to Daniel 9, right? So when it says, and they shall build again the wall even in troublous times. And after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off. So it's talking about the Messiah is going to die, right? But not for himself. And the people of the prince shall come and shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, right? Right. So that is talking about how the Messiah is going to die, and Titus Vespasian is going to come and destroy the temple. That's why we don't have a temple to sacrifice, right? And he shall destroy the city in the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war of desolation shall be determined, right? and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. So it's talking about a 1 week, right? In the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. So what is it talking about? It's talking about the Roman Jewish war. It's talking about from 68 to 73 AD, right? And it said in the middle of the week. What is the middle of the week? 70 AD. He's going to destroy the temple, right? Right. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of the abomination, he shall make it desolate, even until the times of compensation and determined shall be poured upon the desolate, right?
Right.
So there you
come. So I mean, right. I just wanted to bring that out, period, because I think sometimes, because I've heard this when I first got into truth too, and I didn't know any better. I thought that, the sacrifices stopped too when Christ passed away, when Yahushua passed away, but that's not really what it was about. That's why it's great to go to Acts 21 so you can see sacrifices being done after he passed away, and that's why I went to Daniel to show you that it really stopped when Titus Vespasian destroyed the temple. That's when it actually stopped, right? Go to give me Sirach 35 and 1 real quick.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 35, verse 1. Mm-hmm. He that keepeth the law bringeth offerings enough, and he that take heed to the commandments offer a peace offering.
Right. So it's telling you right there. Once again, it's just doubling down on obedience is better than sacrifice. It's telling you right here, if you keep the law, that bringeth offerings enough. Right. It says, he that taketh heed to the commandment offereth a peace offering. So keeping the law, keeping the commandments, you're bringing offering enough because you're bringing that through obedience instead of just sacrifice. Again, obedience is better than sacrifice, right? Let's go to Jeremiah 31 and 31 real quick. Right. So we understand when you go to Jeremiah 31 and 31 that it's the new covenant, which is kingdom connotation, right? So let's just bring that out real quick.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 31. Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, said the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with them, that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, said the Lord, I will put my laws in their inward parts and write it on their hearts. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. So, no, go ahead.
So we understand right there. I mean, this is kingdom connotation. He's saying that he's going to write these laws on our heart, which, again, if the law is going to be done away with in the kingdom and we won't be keeping the law, there's not even a point in him writing on our hearts, right? It's more proof that even in the kingdom, the same things we've always done, which is keep the laws and customs and the traditions and statutes and commandments of our God, we're going to be doing the same thing in the kingdom, right? As well as, like I said earlier, we'll be making sure that those nations around us are doing it as well, right? And it's just the other nations in general that's doing it as well. Give me Zechariah 8 and 22 real quick. We talked about this a little earlier.
Yep, Zechariah. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 8. What you wanted?
8 and 22,
right?
22.
This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 8, verse 22. Yea, many people and strong nations shall come to seek the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem and to pray before the Lord. Thus said the Lord of hosts, in those days shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold of all the languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you.
And this just goes back to the fact that even though we will have perfected bodies, even though the laws will be written on our hearts, that it's going to still be part of our job to teach the other nations. And the other nations are going to come, from all over to get with us to understand how to worship our God. So that's why it says, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. So they're going. It's just like in Isaiah 60 when it says we get the light, right?
Oh.
They won't be able to get that light unless they come to us. So that was the point in that. Give me let's go to Isaiah 65 real quick. Let's start at verse 20.
That's the book of Isaiah, chapter 65. You said start at 20?
Yes.
And verse 20. And there shall be no more hence a infant of days, nor an old man that have not fulfilled his days. For a child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed.
And it's the same thing right there, right? So first off, if there's going to be no law being kept in the kingdom, then there wouldn't even be a sinner, period, whether it's us or the other nations, right? But it says, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed, which also proves again, where there's laws, that's what the curse of the law is actually talking about. When people say the law is cursed, that's what it's actually talking about, where when there's a law, if you break it, that's when the curse comes into play. So it's going to be the same in the kingdom with the other nations, right? They break these laws, they'll be cursed, just like it talks about them not having any rain or the plagues that the Most High going to smite them with when they don't even come up for the Feast of Tabernacles, right? It's just proving that even in the kingdom, we will be keeping the law. So how could the law be done away with now if we're going to have to keep it in the future in the kingdom, right? Give me 1 John 3, right? Just to bring that point home. Because again, you can't be a sinner if there's no laws. Why? Because that's what sin is for people who don't understand it, which most of the Hebrew Israelite community understands what that is, but let's just say some don't. Let's just address that real quick.
Right. This is the book of 1 John, chapter 3, verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin, transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
Simple as that. Like, there can be no sinners in the kingdom if there is no law, right? It's as simple as that. Give me Ezekiel 36. Let's start at 22. Let's go to 25 on that.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36. You said 22?
Yes.
And verse 22. Therefore say unto the house of Israel, thus said the Lord God, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which ye have profaned amongst the heathen, whither ye went, and I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them, and the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, saith the Lord God, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away that stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh.
Right, and even that right there, that's talking about when he writes those laws on our heart, right?
That's the new covenant.
Circumcising our heart, right, in the new covenant, right? So again, we understand it's the kingdom connotation, but keep going on.
And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgment and do them.
Simple as day. We understand that the kingdom connotation is already established. That's why I want to start up at 22. Then when you get to 27, it tells you right there, and I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them, right? We understand that, that's what the circumcising of the heart is, right? Us keeping this law. And again, him writing it on our hearts is what's going to make it easy for us. But again, it just proves that whether it's easier for us or not, we still are going to have to keep it in the kingdom, right? Again, and that's always the point. If we keep it in the kingdom, how can it be done away here? We just going to skip here and it's still in place here, just like it's going to be in the kingdom, right? Let me go to let's go to Ezekiel 37 real quick. Start at 21.
The The book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, and verse 21. And say unto them, thus said the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they have gone, and will gather them out of every side, and will bring them into their own land. And I will make and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be the king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all.
So kind of, we understand that's not going to happen until Christ comes. We understand that when Christ comes, that's going to be the kingdom is next. When we see Christ, he goes through everything he's got to go through. The fighting is done, and then we are in Christ's kingdom at that point, right? After we pass through the rod and we do all those things, then we in Christ's kingdom, right? And we understand, right? It says, and they shall no more be two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. We know that hasn't happened here, so we understand that's not going to happen until the kingdom comes, right?
Hey, and then to prove it ain't talking about the small hats.
Right.
If you go ask them, they don't even know who the hell the Northern Kingdom is. Right.
They don't never speak about it. You didn't learn about that, bro.
Right. Go ahead.
Let's continue from there though.
Right. Verse 23. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. And David, my servant, shall be their king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. And one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgment and observe my statutes and do them.
Same thing, right? It's plain as day. Like, we have conversations all the time about things that people argue, which I don't understand. If you read how you can argue, right? It's so clear that there will be law keeping in the kingdom, right? It says, Salakia, and David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. That's just simple keeping the law. As simple as that, right? Not hard. Let me go to let's go to Isaiah 61 real quick. I want to dig into that word. Let me get over there.
All right. The book of Isaiah, chapter 61.
Start at 5.
In verse 5. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks.
Kingdom connotation.
And the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vineyard dressers. But ye shall be named the priests of the Lord.
Let me start there for a second, right? Because it was interesting. When I looked up this word in the Hebrew, it was just interesting. So when you look at the word for priest in the Hebrew, it's spelled Kohen. If you want to bring it up, you can.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up.
And it's funny because a lot of the small hats are named Cohen, right? Even though it's pronounced Kohen, but they are spelled just like this, Kohen, right? You got it.
Let me share my screen. I'm finna share my screen. He said the word priest, right?
Right. Kohen.
Strong's H3548. Kohen.
So the Hebrew word for priest is the word Kohen, right? And it means priest, principal, officer, or chief ruler. And then when you look at the two forms of the word principal, right? You got principle, Principle, right? And that means, it's like when you say I have principles, right? So when you look at the meaning for that word, it means a rule, a law, a guideline, or a fact. Then you have the other spelling for principal, Principal, like a principal of a school, right? And that is spelled, and that's how that's spelled, which it means the chief officer who oversees the instituting of rules or laws, right? So us being the ministers or priests of God means we will, as a people, be the chief officers or principals who oversee the instituting of the laws and rules of our God, which is really, I mean, that's literally what we made for, right? Give me 1 Peter 2:9 in the ESV, if we could, too. I mean, that's what we made for, is to be the people who, even in the kingdom, right? It's going to be the same thing. We're going to oversee. We're going to be the chief principal rulers who oversee the instituting of our God's laws amongst the other nations.
You said in the ESV?
Yeah, if you could.
It's the book of, you said 2 Peter 2.
2:9. Yeah.
You said 2:9? Am I tripping?
1 Peter 2:9.
Yeah, I'm tripping. All right, this is the book of 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9 in the ESV. But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellency of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
So there it is, right? We were people little. That's what we're chosen for, right? This is why we are the chosen. We are a royal priesthood. And like I said, when you go into that word priest again, it takes you to the word principle. When it takes you to the word principle, what does it say, right? The chief officer who oversees the instituting of rules. So even in the school, right? The chief officer who oversees the school's rules, the school's laws, the school's, whatever their agenda is, right? It's going to be the same in the kingdom, but we're going to be those chief principals. We're going to be those chief rulers who oversee the instituting of our God's laws amongst all the other nations. And like it says there, right? If they don't keep the laws, there's going to be prices. There's going to be curses to pay for that, right? So, also, I want to go into, give me James 4:11 in the NLT, right?
James 4:11,
right? Because I think this sums it all up for me, right? Because when I first got in the truth, my wife would tell you, we had so many conversations. It was like, well, why God say to do this, and why God say to do that? And at that time, for a lot of stuff, I didn't have no answers. But it was just like, he said, do it, I'm gonna do it, right? Yeah. I think this verse makes it clear why we should look at it like that.
James 4:11.
Yeah, in the NLT.
Yeah, I'm looking at it wrong. In the NLT?
Mm-hmm.
James 4:11 in NLT. Yeah. Don't speak evil against each other, dear brothers and sisters. If you criticize and judge each other, then you're criticizing and judging God's law. But your job is to obey the law, not to judge whether it applies to you. No, that's
that, right? Like, we have so many times, discussion about why this and why that, and why Most High might have said this, and why it really don't matter. He says right here, our job is to obey the law, not to judge even whether it applies to you. So we're not supposed to sit here and criticize why he might have said, or wonder why it don't matter. He said, keep the law. That's what we're going to do. We're doing it in antiquity. We're supposed to do it now, and we're going to do the same thing in the kingdom. I just think that was the best way to sum it up. Like, it don't matter why. He said to obey it. We're not supposed to sit here and criticize what that's about. Let's just do what we're supposed to do, which is obey the law. You know what I mean? So same thing here, same thing in the kingdom. You know what I mean? I got a few more, but I mean, I'm just kind of, doubling down on some of the same things we just said 3 or 4 times. So.
I mean, so you got precepts. He said you can go down a whole list, man. All praises to the Most High, man. I ain't got too much to add to that, man. He pretty much did that, and he said he had a lot of more precepts, right?
I appreciate you for slowing me down on that Daniel 9, because I was ready to go.
Yeah.
I had stuff lined up I was trying to get to, man, but I appreciate you for doing that, my brother.
No. We got to make sure that's why. Yo, man, do anybody got any questions in the chat, man? Also, man, I don't know. Like, I got an exclusive, man, for the people that's in the chat. I know it's kind of late, but guess what, man? Gorilla Hebrew's about to go live on y'all, man. So that's like for y'all any minute now, right? I'm waiting on them to pop up like the Kool-Aid man. But yeah. But anybody got any questions? Some comments?
Yeah, if I was moving too fast, y'all forgive me, man. I'm just
yeah, my man said he was in the spirit. So if y'all got any questions, put it in the chat, man. I'll give it like a couple minutes. Somebody put all topic divide. Where do you get your hair wrapped? This is actually a country. This is a flag. Most of the times it'd be countries I'm wearing. But
where you get it from though?
Man, I got it from like this little Caribbean, some West Indian spot down there in Midtown.
Right. You get a lot of little beauty supply store. You find a lot of spots.
Yeah, you can get a lot of them from spots. Also, if you want to get like some I'm assuming Deacon still sell head wraps, right?
Right.
Yeah, you can go get it from the Deacon. You still sell them. Oh, she said I thought so. Yeah, man, this is a country flag. I used to wear the Haitian flag to piss a sod off, but doesn't do.
You know, I always had that Cape Verdean. Made sure I had one of those because she Cape Verdean.
Right, yep, just to piss them off, right? But it doesn't have the same effect like it used to. Just got home from work. I have been tuned in since the class began. Tonight class was great. The water, yeah. Yeah, another brother put edifying, beautiful. Yeah, man, that's what we try to do.
That's it. You know, I'm getting a little more comfortable with it, y'all, but you know, I'm still new to it too. You know, a lot of these things I'm used to bringing them out amongst our friends and us as brothers, but you know, this is my first time ever getting on camera and teaching anything, right? So y'all bear with me. You know, I'm getting more and more comfortable. So like I said, I'm slow down in the future, but you know what I'm saying, I do be ready to go, man.
Yeah, he said, yeah. He just, my brother gonna get better at it.
Yeah.
The more you do it,
the Lord will.
Somebody said in Job 3 and 8, who are the Sabians? Get Job 3 and 8. I think that's the Hamites.
All right, let me see. Job 3 and 8. She said, who was the Sabian?
Yeah, you read it.
Let me see. I'll read it, but I don't.
Joel?
Oh, Joel?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it said Job.
I probably said Job, man. You know, I got that country twang. Job, Joel, it's about the same.
Right. All right. Gotcha. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 8. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it.
I think that's talking about them damn Hamites. That's the curse of Ham's son. That's when it fully takes place in the kingdom of heaven, when you start selling
the people of the nation of Sheba, right?
Yeah. Right. All right, what did it say before? Let me get to it.
Right. That's funny. The land of Sheba start to refer to the port city of Sabah in Yemen.
Yeah, that's the Hamites. That's the curse of Ham. Get the curse of Ham. Well, I get it. Where is it? Yeah, start at 22.
All right. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 9, verse 22. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brethren without. And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father. And their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done unto him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren.
So, see, the Canaanites are going to have to serve their own brothers. So when you're dealing with Tyre and Zidon and that whole thing, those are Hamites. Anybody else got any more questions? Comments, concern? Y'all check out all them little y'all judo videos. That nigga want to be so famous so bad. Hope he got what he's looking for.
He about to if he did.
Yeah, that brother's bugged out, man. We should pray for him. We should pray to Jesus for this nigga thinking he's Jesus.
That was funny. Y'all was like, I guess we should crucify you.
Yeah, I was serious. We should have crucified his dumb ass.
What's crazy to me about niggas like that, though, is
that's when it became spiritual.
How you get niggas to follow you saying shit like that, though, bro? Like,
no, one thing the God pointed out, he said, man, all them niggas be having a woman, though, man. That just was crazy.
Right, that's crazy.
We done met two niggas since I've been in the truth. I done met like two niggas who tried to debate us that they're Jesus.
Right. And it was funny. They both had the same method, though. Come up at camp 2-3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Not saying it first. And then, like, well, yeah. Remember old boy used to be on the east side? Like, well, y'all said it. No, we just
thou sayest.
Right.
No, that nigga trying to pull it. That nigga trying to pull it.
You believe that?
You believe you're Jesus? Right. Thou sayest.
Right.
No, nigga, I'm asking you, nigga. I'm not saying you Jesus. I'm asking you. Thou sayest. The Messiah is here, nigga. Like, no.
The ultimate bug out.
Man, I can't stand. Like, bro, I tell y'all people who don't go out there to the street corners, man, y'all don't get fully engulf how bugged out these niggas be. Y'all get 30 minutes of the video. Literally, we have to deal with these niggas all day.
Right. But it's like I heard somebody say to me, he said, I don't blame it on the leaders as much as I blame it on the followers. Because the followers make you niggas really think you can keep going with that bugged out doctrine. The fact that you got people hanging on every word that you say, like, I just don't understand. Like, I could never see myself listening to somebody tell me that they Christ and then, like, devote myself to following a nigga who really, truly believe that.
Like, it's like
he really believed that.
That niggas, hey, they truly believe that too, man. It was that one nigga with them dreads, and like I can see it, he's like finna cry,
right?
Because I don't believe this nigga's Jesus. He's like, he's finna cry. Like, you don't believe? He's looking at me. It's like it's watering up. He's like looking, like he's trying to look at me. How you don't believe, brother? Like,
well, he said he came in his own rejected him. See?
How you don't believe,
crazy,
man?
Bro.
Like that nigga's tearing up. Oh man, I can't believe this. Like, nigga, you big as hell. You think this nigga's Jesus, man? Come on, bro.
Like, it's like, once you say that, it's nothing else to be said. I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I'm walking off, man. That shit's crazy.
Like, he's emotional. Like, he's finna cry. He can't. He's so emotional, he can't even let God talk. I said, nigga, shut up. God's talking. You think this nigga's God? God is talking. Right. Shut up, nigga.
Right.
But he's like, you
better followers.
Yeah. This nigga's finna cry. He's finna break down. He's too emotional.
But that's real though. They both had women, you know what I mean, following them like it's, you know, I don't know, it's like I feel like it gotta be something wrong with you for somebody to tell you that and you really like buy into that, man. You know what I'm saying? It just sounds like straight nonsense to me. I don't get it.
I don't know, man. The fact that Jesus had to hop on the Google and find the scripture and then he's misquoting it, like, come on, bro.
Right.
Come on, man.
Misquoting his own words.
Nigga gonna try to tell me Memphis. You know, goddamn Memphis, Tennessee, that's the real Egypt. When it's talking about Bethlehem, that's the east side of Decatur, nigga. You don't know? Y'all reading this all wrong. Like, man, come on, man. Once they start talking like, I don't even want to debate, man. Get this nigga out of my face.
Have a good day.
I can't even take you serious. You didn't know, brother? When you talk about walking across the Red Sea.
Right. And it's funny, too, brothers like that, too.
It's the Mississippi River, nigga.
Whatever they can't explain. Look, even Christians, though, whatever they can't explain is, well, it's spiritual, brother. Whenever you can't explain something, then it turns to something spiritual. Like, it's great.
Yeah, man, I can't stand them niggas. I guess we're gonna call it a night. Look out for Gorilla Hebrew, man. He should be
any minute. Any
minute now. Any minute. So with that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Shalom.
Shalom.